Hey y'all, I'm Shauna. Welcome in or welcome back to the channel. Today I have a really special video and one that is very near and dear to my heart, and I think is a really big foundation for why I make content on this channel. And over the past 4 years, over my entire time on YouTube, I've made content that has been kind of surrounding the topic of conscious consumerism. And I feel like each kind of generation or epoch of this channel, from the earliest no-buy days to the most recent shift to talking more explicitly about consumerism and overconsumption online, all of that has been kind of different takes or different contributions to conscious consumerism. And so I was thinking recently, if I had one message that I would want to put out there, or, come back to or point to, what would my message be? And it's very clear to me. And I want to have that discussion with you today. I want to talk about this message and why I think it's so important. We're just going to put it up there right up front. If I had one message that I could communicate to you, it would be to use what you have. And this isn't a strange message or an unusual or uncommon message if you've been here or if you've been in sustainability spaces or capsule wardrobe spaces, minimalist spaces, or even conscious consumer spaces. This isn't a particularly unique to me message. However, I think that it is so incredibly important to not just use what you have, but I guess maybe second or the caveat would be to enjoy the process of using what you have, to learn to appreciate your stuff and, to enjoy your stuff. A lot of my content over the past about 6 months has really focused on countering overconsumption and content that is designed to make you want things or encouraging you to buy more stuff. And being critical about what we buy is totally important and is a really central part of consumer culture, but also our own lives. And, being critical or conscious about what we're buying and why is not only important for financial reasons, but I would also argue contentment reasons, sustainability reasons, and so much more. What I think is equally, if not more important, is the stuff that we already have. And this message of using what you have is pretty popular in many kind of conscious consumer or sustainability spaces because of the, simple fact that using what you have is the most conscious or sustainable choice that you could make. And sustainability arguments, they matter. They matter a lot. And that's one of the themes that I talk about on this channel is that at our current level of consumption globally, and yes, there are parts of the world that absolutely consume more than others, so it's not an equal distribution. But as we stand today in 2024, we simply do not have the resources to consume at the levels that we are consuming. People on average are wearing a garment 7 to 10 times before they throw it out or discard it in some kind of way. Approximately 75% of all things donated to thrift stores do not make it onto the floor. And one thing I talked about in a Shein video as well, probably in July or August, yes, August, there's something called World Overshoot Day. And World Overshoot Day is a day in a given year in which every day past that year are days that we are borrowing resources from future generations. So today, or not today, in 2024, World Overshoot Day was August 1st. So up until August 21st, we had used approximately, this is an approximation, all of the resources to sustain ourselves for that year. And everything after August 1st, we are borrowing from future generations. This is just a pure resource equation or kind of thinking. And so the effect is cumulative. Ever since we've started calculating World Overshoot Day in the early 70s, we haven't once made it a full year. The closest we've come is end of December. We've had years that have come close. But as time passes, we go further and further into the year. kind of increasing about a day a year. So for sustainability reasons, using what we have is really important. For personal reasons as well, for financial reasons, and I would also argue contentment reasons, using what we have is so important. And I think it's something that, over the past 20 years, just like socially or societally, we have gotten worse at using what we have, and more importantly, enjoying what we have and appreciating what we have. That is a bit of a generalization because there are folks who simply cannot afford to buy more things or to consume more. There's also people who can or can't, who do appreciate what they have and use what they have. Appreciating what we have is so incredibly important because it helps us enjoy the process or enjoy the act of our stuff that de-incentivizes us to buy more things. And I think that this message is useful regardless of, how you buy things or where you buy things, because I think some folks do get really wrapped up in like, you should never buy fast fashion, or you should only thrift or only buy from sustainable fashions. And I think that if those acts are available to you, they can be important. But why this messaging is so important to me is because using what you have and appreciating what you have, it makes whatever, like wherever you buy your clothes, the most like sustainable way to do it. Because it's not really sustainable to go and buy some amazing, perfect garments from artisans using only natural fibers, whatever, carbon offsetting, water neutral, whatever the criteria is, GOTS certified cotton, like this kind of thing. If you're replacing that every year, that's still resource extraction and using things and replacing it more than you really need. Not everybody can afford that or even like have access to thrift stores. So regardless of where you shop, if you extend the life of your garments or you extend the life of your stuff, then you are quite usually not buying more things. And so I think this messaging of appreciating what you have and using what you have just transcends, like, to say to people, only buy these ethical, sustainable clothes is a really alienating message. I think buying it if you can afford it is great. But what is a message that is not only digestible, but applicable to so many more people is using what you have and appreciating what you have. And so some of the problem isn't where you're buying it. Of course, that does matter. But the fact that we are buying things that we don't need and we're buying more than we need. So imagine a situation in which every person in the world bought nothing for 1 year. I think that would have a much bigger impact than every person only buying sustainably made clothes for a year or furniture or whatever it is. Even if we could come up with some kind of criteria that was perfect, I think there would be a bigger impact of people buying nothing for 1 year versus people buying the sustainable kind of things. And I don't think that everybody buying nothing forever or a year is attainable or desirable or doable. This is just a hypothetical question. Hey y'all, editing Shauna here. I apologize for the very trash lighting, but hopefully we'll be here for just a second and we can, just deal with it. So one of the reasons why I would focus on this message of using what you have, opposed to suggesting like go buy in this way, is because I think that many of us are so wrapped up in buying things and, consumerism that suggesting buy in this way is still positioning buying things as a solution. And like, we can't shop our way out of the climate crisis, and we can't shop our way out of our problems. I think we need to be more in practice of not shopping. And so using what you have also accounts for whatever clothes you already have, regardless of where they're from. So if you have Shein in your closet or Everlane in your closet or Dolce & Gabbana or Old Navy, whatever, it's a much more practical message to just use what you have, regardless of where it's from, and make those things work and last. Your clothes aren't inherently garbage or should be thrown out because they're Shein or Old Navy or Temu. Use them, enjoy them, wear them, love them. And I think by overemphasizing buying things in a particular way can make us feel like we should own different clothes altogether because what we have isn't the most sustainable thing, when that's not really true. Whatever clothes you already have in your closet, wearing those, loving those, that's the most sustainable thing to do. Not buying more things, or not buying things or more sustainable things to replace the things that you already own. If there comes a time in which whatever clothes you have should be replaced or need to be replaced, then you can start thinking about, okay, what might be the most sustainable choice that I could make at this time, given my resources, including my budget and, my access. And so when I think and talk about this using what you have, I think so many of us are out of practice with going to what we have first and also using what we have. And part of why I think that is the incessant marketing for buying new things and getting wrapped up and excited about buying new stuff. But there's also like habit components. Many folks impulse buy because it's just a habit in how they shop for things. Of course, not everybody, everywhere, every time. But there are habits that develop where you see something, whether it's an like a strict advertisement you got, recommendation from a real life friend, or something that you've seen from an influencer, and then you go and you click on the link or you go search it up and add it to your cart. Many people impulse buy like that, or they're used to or have, it's become normal to buy new stuff, like new clothes every season. Finding shopping desirable and finding the acquisition of goods desirable is why many of us buy things every year, or want to buy things every year, or impulse buy things every year. And we can become so focused on wanting new things or consuming content that gets us thinking about stuff or wanting new stuff, just kind of seeing new stuff, that we want to buy things because of that. And we're not even thinking about our stuff at all. Like, it's not about what we already have. And it's not about, okay, my stuff isn't good enough or my stuff isn't perfect. Sometimes, or quite often, we're just thinking about the excitement of the new stuff. Many of us enjoy novelty. And when we get bored of our clothes, we don't find new ways to find them exciting or enjoyable again. We fix this boredom by buying things. And boredom also represents why we might be interested in buying things at all, or buying more things, wanting more things, or feeling this kind of itch to shop. I've just talked about a couple of things, and I do really want to make it clear that not every person shops for these reasons. But I think that just some of what I've talked about is probably relatable to at least some of you. And so if we get better at appreciating what we have, then I think we start looking at our stuff with more appreciation, of course, more gratitude. And I think we can develop behaviors and habits with that. If we make it our goal to appreciate what we have so we can use it longer, we are more enticed to use our stuff. So we're more inclined to use it longer, and we think about our stuff in less deficient ways. And we think about, or we get excited about wearing our stuff and pulling out our new favorite stuff for summertime when summertime comes around, or fall time when fall time comes around. And so appreciating our things, I just think, is such an important act with feeling satisfied in our own lives and with our stuff, because it's like you can't see forest you can't see the forest for the trees. Sometimes it is true that, seeing the Pinterest outfits or seeing all of the new stuff online or advertising makes you feel like your stuff isn't good enough. But often that's not the case. We're not looking at our stuff from a place of deficiency. We're looking at the new stuff from a place of excitement. So if we make ourselves more excited to use our things, then we can be less excited to shop or less excited or even interested in going out and looking at those things altogether. And so I think there's also this question of like, well, how do you do that? And this is kind of what I mean by people are out of practice. It's that we have to change our mindset, our attitude, and even like some of the ways that we operate in the world and maybe some of the mechanisms that we've set up or some of the structures that we've set up. So let me give you a really, really classic, really timely example. Clothes are just really coming to mind in this conversation for me, but I think that in many cases, it's not just about the clothes. It can be about our furniture or electronics or home goods, things like that. So really classic example, and the one that's on my mind, is fall coming around and you're seeing all the new fall fashion in the stores, maybe on your way home if you go to Target. Maybe you're watching some YouTube videos or shorts or TikToks, whatever, and you get excited about the new fall clothes, and then you want to buy the fall clothes. And just seeing this new stuff out there, you get to your wardrobe and you kind of feel like, I don't really have anything to wear. I don't really like what I have, so I'm going to go buy new things. A similar but different example that's happening to me right now with clothes is I just put out my fall wardrobe about 2 weeks ago now, maybe a little bit longer, maybe more like 3 weeks ago. And when I turned over my closet, I was so excited about what I had. And then just a little bit of time and space goes by and I'm immediately like, I'm bored with everything. And the problem that I'm experiencing right now is overall just a lack of creativity, just wearing the same things over and over again, but also not really knowing how to style some of my own pieces. And I haven't really been watching any fall content, so I'm not getting excited about shopping. I am just in this place of feeling like my clothes aren't hitting it. I don't know what to do. So the problem to that solution is to buy stuff that, was something that I thought about and something that would be my automatic solution. And so one of the key things that I think is so important to do is to figure out what to do when you get into these ruts with your clothes or your makeup or whatever. And that is a practice behavior, not turning to stuff or shopping or acquiring goods when you feel bored or stuck or in a rut. That is a learned behavior that requires practice in order to think that way at all, but then start doing. So one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my closet. I'm going to take outfit photos and I'm going to put together some outfits. I've already gathered some inspiration, and some of the things I'm going to be doing are like really basic, borderline basic outfits to kind of kick me off. And then I have some that are maybe a little bit not so basic, but I'm starting with the super, super, super basic outfits because my mind is just not thinking of anything besides the like 3 outfits that I've been wearing. I'm also going to create a folder for the outfits that I create. Like I'm going to take photos and then put them in my phone under a specific folder for outfits, which is my partner suggestion. And so next time I go into my closet and I feel like, oh, I'm bored or I don't feel like I have anything to wear and that makes me enticed to shop, then I have a folder full of clothes, full of outfits that I've enjoy, that I have said that I liked. And like boredom can be such a temporary phase where we only feel it for a couple of weeks or days, or, we do something like this where we find ways to get creative with our stuff. I've done this with my makeup before, creating makeup capsules or following tutorials or things like that. And I think that one of the ways we can appreciate what we have are coming up with strategies for boredom and not just gunning it to the stores or to the online or to online shopping as the first kind of knee-jerk reaction to that kind of feeling, because those are much more permanent choices, and one that like it could be the only thing that crosses our mind because that is what we have done in the past. I do also kind of think about appreciating what we have as not just doing things to actively cultivate our own appreciation, which are things like, creating the makeup capsule or changing things out seasonally or having makeup playtime or wardrobe playtime, creating kind of strategies for yourself, but also like cultivating the maybe like physical or other kind of functional things in your life to do that. Like following people on social media who are regularly using what they have and are putting into practice this value that you yourself find important. And that's one of the things I've done. And I hear from so many of you are both taking away the people who kind of create that noise or who take away from that, but also following the people who support that belief. I watch no buyers and capsule wardrobers and people who own things for years. And I watch people, intentional living people, and not every person in those categories fits that, like my own values and what I want to see, but there are certainly people who do. And I also sometimes just opt out of that kind of content altogether. I was watching some, favorite comedy TV shows over the past few days, or reading, typically not influenced to buy things when I'm reading. And so sometimes just like getting out of that headspace or the people who are trying to sell you stuff for the new releases is so helpful. And so the other side of the coin is kind of changing your physical or maybe mental surroundings that entice you to buy stuff. The unsubscribing and the unfollowing from the newsletters, or subscribing to the H&M newsletter, or subscribing to social media creators who are regularly buying new stuff or hauling new stuff. That kind of thing can make such a really big difference. And so if you think about using what you have as like the baseline, as this is the behavior that I want to do, what can I do to support this? Or what actions help me do this well? What actions detract from this? Or what are actions that make me disinterested in doing this are questions to consider. And so if you're somebody who has been one of those people who has consumed the content, the TikToks and the YouTube videos, or the trend mood in the makeup world, or going shopping with people, or shopping by the mall casually, or, going to Target and shopping by the clothes section, or, whatever things tempt you. When you disengage from a lot of that, I think you will see changes in how you think about stuff and also how much you want to buy things. I'm not saying that it's just going to make you disinterested in buying things. But overall, I think you receive less messaging about buy this stuff, which makes you less tempted to buy stuff. That doesn't inherently create the appreciation with the stuff. We have to do that, and we have to do that intentionally, I think. Like, I don't think that appreciating our stuff happens on accident. So when you love your stuff, like the thoughts about getting rid of it or buying new stuff are less common. And then having strategies to help you love your stuff is, also helpful. And then eliminating or getting rid of some of the detractors that make you want to buy things. I personally have not just been like, oh yes, I love everything all the time and I'm perfectly good at it. There are times where I experience boredom, or I want to buy stuff because I haven't been all that great at filtering the content that I watch. And when I subscribe to newsletters or watch the YouTube videos, people creating their fall capsules or makeup reviews, I'm not all that interested in makeup anymore. I've been wearing like 2 makeup looks on this channel for like 6 months straight. And that's just like great for me. And so I don't I'm not that interested in makeup anymore. But then I go watch makeup reviews and it's like manufactured interest. I also really think that enjoying what we have is, it's great for expanding the lifespan of our stuff. But I think getting good at appreciating our stuff and our lives is just much more of an enjoyable place to be in. Why people shop can be very complicated. Just starting to appreciate your stuff isn't going to fix a shopping problem if you have one. Let's be clear on that. So with that, kind of maybe caveat aside, I've personally found that I am overall happier and enjoying my life more when I'm appreciating my stuff and just not so consumed about all the things I want to buy. Just kind of checking out of that kind of buy content. I think some of the most peace that I experience in my own life is when I'm just checked out of all of that kind of content altogether. And I'm also able to experience gratitude and appreciation for my stuff and my life. And I've also noticed that when I appreciate my stuff, it kind of can have a knock-on effect of appreciating my life and the other things around me and kind of just seeing more good. I've been kind of thinking a lot as well about letting go and just like the power of letting go and just choosing not to care about certain things anymore, or even just for a while. Like, you know what? I'm just not gonna give a shit about clothes. I don't care. I don't care what other people are doing. I don't really care if I'm the most. I don't care about being fashionable. I don't care about having the cutest clothes or just even being fashionable at all. I just don't care. And I'm not gonna care. And I'm just gonna choose not to freaking care. And it's kind of freeing and relieving a little bit. And when you stop caring, like you're just, not you, but me anyways, my mind, it's so free, and I'm not like comparing myself to other people or even just thinking about, am I cute today? Am I fashionable today? I'm just like getting dressed and just not letting those kinds of things take up much mental space at all. So if using what you have and appreciating what you have isn't something that comes naturally, I think it will come easier or quicker to some than others. I just would like to say that it is learnable and it's one that even if you let it go, it can absolutely be cultivated again and again forever. And I think it's one of those things that just leads to contentment or kind of helps bring contentment a little bit or can foster contentment. And I kind of think that it is a key. I don't know if it's the key, but I think it's a key to helping us use what we have and using it for longer. As I've said probably 4 times already, but I think it's worth repeating. When we enjoy our stuff, when we appreciate our stuff, when we go, yes, that's great, I think we are far less likely to even want to go shopping, to even want to buy more stuff. And when we are tempted, if we can find ways and strategies to remind us about how great our stuff is and that we already have great stuff on hand, it makes it easier to combat the noise and all of the messaging that just makes us want to shop or entices us to shop. And so if you want to do this, cultivating strategies that are personal to you, I think is going to be the key. And so I have mentioned a couple of things here, like, doing some wardrobe playtimes or makeup playtimes. I think those are just a couple of them. And my call to action for you today in this video, I want you to pop off. I don't care if you leave me 12 comments or you have a long list. I want to know, what are some ways that you appreciate what you have? What kind of strategies, what kind of activities do you do? What kind of stuff do you do to appreciate what you have? I would love to hear all of yours because I do think that I know that I have a wide variety of viewers who have a wide variety of interests. And so some of y'all, I know, I see you in the comments, the crocheters and the knitters. I think there would be some great advice or suggestions from the crocheters and the knitters out there. Whatever your interest, I would love to hear from you. So that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching, hang out with me today. I would love it if you would subscribe to catch more content, and I hope to see you again around here soon. Bye.